Alright, so you're either here because your STAAR test is tomorrow, or you're here because your STAAR test is tomorrow. Regardless of why you're here, guess what? This is STAAR Test Prep for 8th grade math. Let's get it. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be equipped with the knowledge to pass the exam. Alright guys, before we jump into these questions, I just wanted to let you know that this is a follow along video. So if you do need to get the STAAR test worksheet that I have here, make sure you go to the description where you'll be able to find the link to the TEA website. It will give you access to a variety of STAAR tests ranging from social studies to science to reading and math. So this will equip you before the STAAR test so that you'll be able to know what type of questions you're going to be answered, what type of topics you need to study for. All right, now let's get into the video. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into question number 1. Here we have the trapezoid WKRP. Sounds like a news channel.
Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2.
It was translated 4 units to the left and 5 units up on the coordinate grid to create trapezoid W''K''R''P''. Which rule describes this transformation? All right, so we're looking for two things, a transformation as well as the rule of the transformation. How do we find that? Now, before any of this starts, one key word that I see here is the coordinate grid. Already, if there's no coordinate grid drawn on the paper, I'm gonna make myself one, as shown here. You know, I need to be able to visualize what I'm looking at. You have 4 hours to take this exam, I hope. But if you have 4 hours or any given time, try your best to visualize these things, all right? So with that being said, now we're looking for translation. What is that? Translation is basically moving a point from one position on the coordinate grid to another position, all right? That's a translation. Now, what is the rule? A rule is basically saying, okay, you're gonna do this to the X coordinate and you're gonna do this to the Y coordinate, okay? That's the rule. Now, how do we find a translation? We have a trapezoid WKRP, right? That's just imaginary. We don't know what it is. Do I need to draw a trapezoid on this coordinate plane? No. Let me give you this analogy. That's like saying I'm driving from my house all the way to school. If I drive from my house to the school and it's 13 miles, the distance from my house to school doesn't change, even if I ride from my house or even if I walk from my house to school. It's still gonna say 13 miles. What changed is just maybe the shape or the size of what is moving, but the distance doesn't change. So the test makers might want you to say, oh, you know what, I think Mackenzie or I think Sarah or Jacob or Jonathan is gonna draw a whole trapezoid here and, you know, try and move it around and waste time. Don't give in to those tricks. Instead, work smarter, not harder, all right? So what I'm gonna do, all I'm gonna do is make a point on the number line. So I'm gonna maybe do something, let's try right here at 5. Let's try here at 5, 0. All right, so here we have our coordinate at 5, 0. These are our coordinates right here. Now let's follow the translation rules that they give us. They say we should move it 4 units to the left and 5 units up. So let's do that. We're gonna move 4 units to the left and we're gonna move it 5 units up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, let's stop right here. Now, what do we notice about our point? It is moved, right? So now we're gonna go ahead and write down our second coordinate. So this is gonna be 1, 5. 1, 5. All right, so now that we've visualized the movement of our point, now I did something right here. So it says old and it says the rule and it says new. The old is gonna represent our old coordinates and the new is gonna represent the new coordinates. And in between, we're gonna write down our rule. Before even looking at the answer choices, we're gonna solve this by ourselves. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get the X coordinates and the Y coordinates. Now let's start here. We have a 5 and we have a 0. All right, so now we are going to represent the same coordinates, but for our new coordinate, which is right here. So our new X coordinate is going to be 1, and our new Y coordinate is going to be 5. So now that we have that written down, now we need to find our rule. what happened to these numbers? Now, this is simple math, right? You could tell your little sister in second grade to help you solve this, right? So we have 5 to 1. What happened? We subtracted 4 units from that 5. So we're gonna have our 5 minus 4, and it brought us to this 1. We have our 0. What happened in order to get it to 5? We added 5. All right. So now with that being said, we know what happened to our x and y values. So therefore our rule, now let's write it in terms of x and y. So now we're gonna write it in terms of x. So what happened to our x coordinate? We subtracted 4 units from it. What happened to our y coordinate? We added 5 units to it. So this now becomes our new rule. And what answer choice gives us this same rule? We see the same thing in answer choice. We see the same thing in answer choice, I believe it's answer choice A. It says x minus 4 and y plus 5. Therefore, A is going to be the correct answer choice. All right, guys, let's move on to question number 2. Here it says, which representation shows y as a function of x? What does that mean? Y being a function of x basically means that for every x value, per x value, we have one y value. So one x value, one y value, one x value, one y value, and so on. So let's say x, for every x value, we multiply it by 2 to get a y value. So if x were 2, we'd multiply 2 times 2 to get y, which would be 4. If x were 8, we'd multiply 8 times 2 to get y, which would be 16, and so on. Or let's say x were 6, we multiply it by 2 and it would get us 12. So hopefully you grasped that a little bit better. Now we're also looking for one other thing. What happens when y isn't a function of x? Now how do we recognize that? We recognize that when we see 2 y values per x value, or more than 2 y values per x value. What does that mean? Let's say x is represented as 5. And let's say, going off of the previous example, you need to multiply x times 2 to get y. 5 times 2 will get you 10. However, if you keep multiplying it, 5 times 2, you'd only get 10. You wouldn't get 12, you wouldn't get 16. So basically, per x value, you can only have one y value. All right. Now, the second option in determining whether it is not a function of x or it is basically by doing the pencil test. Now, there's a test my teacher gave us, when we were much younger, and I'll show you here in a second. Basically, we have, our coordinate grid. Now, let's go off of answer choice F. Answer choice F has, a little circle right here. Sorry, I'm not an artist.
And again, I'm not an artist, so don't judge me. And right.
All right. Now, we have the pencil test, basically saying that after going through and putting your pencil on the paper, you can't have more than 2 points on that same pencil. All right. So here, for instance, we have 1 point right here and another point right here. That means that we have 2 y values sharing the same x value. So this is not a representation of y being a function of x, if you get my point. So now let's go on to answer choice G and try it out for yourself. Look at this, yourself, and see if it makes sense. If I put the pencil down, will I have 2 y values in place of one x value? Well, here we have this x value right here. Let's call it 2. And let's call this right here, let's say it's -2, and this is +3. All right, so our x value is 2, and we have 2 y values going on that same x value. So here, right, for instance, we have 2 -2, all right? And here we have 2 +3. Now, although we have 2 different y values, we have the same x value. Therefore, this is not a representation of y being a function of x. So F and G are eliminated. Let's try answer choice H. For answer choice H, we see, we have this matching diagram sort of, and we have our x value -11 plotted with y value 60. We have -14 plotted with y value 47. We have -17 plotted with y value 34, and -20 plotted with y value 21. Now, in this case, have we seen any x value with 2 y values? No. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a question mark next to that answer choice and say, okay, this is a possible answer. Let's move on to answer choice J. We have 16 with the the x value 16 with the y value 19, the x value 18 with the y value 21, the x value 20 with the y value 23, and then we have something interesting on the x value 22. It is matched with two y values. What did we say? We can't have two y values for one x value. It's, one x value, one y value. That's like saying one sandwich, one side of fries, one sandwich, one side of fries, one sandwich, one side of fries. Same thing with this coordinate grid, one x value, one y value. We can't have multiple. All right, so therefore answer choice J is excluded, and therefore the correct answer, you guessed it, is H. The first thing I would go ahead and do is to list out my answer choices. We have F, we have G, we have H, and we have J. All right, I'm listing them out so that I can write alongside them their interest, so I can find out which one has the least amount of interest for the $12,000. All right, so for answer choice F, now keep in mind, guys, as we're looking through these, we're looking for two things: our rate and our time. All right, so for answer choice F, we are given a 4-year loan with 5.2% annual simple interest rate. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and write that down. We have a 4-year, that's our time, and we have 5.2%, that's our annual interest. 5.2% times 4. Now, before I continue, I just wanted to let you know that there's another way to calculate this if you're not comfortable with percents. Another way to do this is by taking the 5.2%, and basically if you want to convert this into a decimal alone, all you do is move the decimal point 2 places to the to the left. All right, so we're moving it 2 places to the left, so we end up getting 0.052. So that's another way to write 5.2% in case you're not too comfortable with percents. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and calculate this now with the following. So now we have 12,000 times 0.052, that gives us 624. Now we're gonna multiply that times 4, and that is going to give us 2,496. So this is all gonna be equal to 2,496. All right, so now that this is going to be our interest for answer choice F. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do that 3 more times for all my other answer choices. And you can go ahead and do the same thing as well. You can pause the video right now and try it on your own. So again, we're gonna take 12,000, answer choice G gives us 4.2 annual interest for 5 years. So times 4.2% for 5 years. And multiplying that, that is going to get us all together, that is going to get us 2,520. It's going to be equal to 2,520. All right, now we're going to do the same thing for answer choice H. Answer choice H, we are given 4.7% interest for 6 years times 4.7% times 6. And altogether, that is going to give us 3,384. 3,384. And again, just for explaining sake, I'll go ahead and walk you through this last one, which is answer choice J. And that is a 3-year loan for 8.4% annual interest times 8.4% for 3 years. So remember, 8.4 is also equivalent to 0.084. And multiplying those two, we'll end up getting 1,008. 1,008 times 3. And that will get us 3,024. 3,024. All right. So now that we have all our calculations done, now we could go ahead and analyze which one gave us the smallest amount of interest. So far, I believe F is giving us the smallest amount of interest, and therefore F is going to be the correct answer. All right, now we're gonna jump into question number 5. This will be the last question of today's video. And if you need more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll get alerted when I drop a new STAAR test review video. All right, let's get started. So here in question 5, it says, which table represents a non-proportional relationship between X and Y? So we're looking for something that is not proportional. So what's an example of a proportion? So let's say we have 1 over 2. Let's say we have 1 over 2 and we have 3 over 6, right? This is proportional because both of them represent half, okay? So if I were to cross multiply, they should give me the same amount. So 1 times 6 is equal to 6 and 2 times 3 is also equal to 6. Therefore, this is proportional. All right, so we're going to use this same principle in finding which one of these answer choices is not proportional. Key term, not. If you need to, highlight it, circle it, star it, do whatever you need to do to remember we're looking for something that is non-proportional. So let's jump in. So answer choice A, we have our whole table. Now, before jumping into this, I will remind you, we're using the same principle. So we don't have to go through all the numbers. We need 4 numbers, basically 2 on each side to set up a proportion. All right, so for answer choice A, we have 1 and we have 3 on the X value. So let's write our X and our Y. So we have a 1 and we have a 3. And for our Y values, we have a -4 and a -12. -4 and a -12. Are these proportional? 1 times negative, so we're gonna go ahead and multiply it out. 1 times a -12. That's going to give us a -12 because 1 times anything is itself. And 3 times a -4, that is going to give us a -12. So therefore, we know that answer choice A is proportional. So we can go ahead and eliminate that choice. All right, this is proportional. So I don't even have to do any more calculations. I already know, boom, it's not proportional. All right, let's try it again for B. So B, we have, let's use some simpler numbers. So we have 2, we have 10, a -11, and -55. Let's use those. All right, so 2 and 10 in our X values. Remember, we only need 4. 2 and 10, and then we have -11 and -55 times -55 right here. All right, let's go ahead and multiply these. So we have -55 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. And remember, it's negative, so we have a -110. And then we're going to do the same for 10 and -11. -11 times 10, right? 0 times everything is 0. 1 times everything is itself. We're going to add that. We get 110, and don't forget the negative. So therefore, we know that this proportion is correct because both multiplications give us a -110, right? So as of right now, you could pause the video and actually try and see which of the other 2 are non-proportional. Give it a try, right? So now, if you did, let's go ahead and continue together. We have answer choice C. We have 1 and 4 on our X values. 1 and 4, and we have 7.5 and 30 as our Y values. 7.5 and we have 30. Now we're cross multiplying. 1 times 30, that's giving us 30. 4 times 7.5. All right, 7.4 times 5 is 20 raised to 2. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. So we get 30.0. 30 is equal to 30, so we know that this proportion is correct. Now, based off of process of elimination, D should be the correct answer choice, in which it's a proportion that is not proportional. All right, so let's try D. For our X values, we have -5 and -1. For our Y values, we have 11 and -1. -5 and -1, and 11 and -1. Let's cross multiply. -1 times 11, that'll give us a -11, and then we have -5 times a -1, that'll give us a +5. Therefore, based off a process of elimination and just going through all the answer choices just to be safe, we've now concluded that -11 and 5 aren't proportional. All right, y'all, that's the end of the video. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when I release a new video. Don't forget to also like the video and share it to someone you know who's taking a STAAR test. Whether it's today, tomorrow, next month, it does not matter. Send it to them. And I'm praying for you guys that you do well. You know what? Let's pray right now. God, I just pray for the person watching this video right now that you help them with their STAAR test. And I pray that they do well. In Jesus' name, amen. So I hope you guys do well. Make sure you share, comment. You guys know what to do, right? And with that being said, have a great rest of your week. Study, sleep well, eat well. It's a routine. God bless you and have a great day, y'all.